super sharp. I've got like, it must be like 1 million pairs of these. I mean, it's ridiculous. I've got them everywhere. Upstairs, downstairs, in the kitchen, everywhere, all over the place. Now, these are really sharp. You can see the point is absolutely spot on. It's on point. You get it? On point? Okay. So, something like this is really good for nipping into like corners, nipping into, you know, various places where you've got to be absolutely bang on precise. It's really sharp. I always make sure they're really sharp, and you know, I keep them very clean, and I do not use them for anything else other than for fabric. Rule number 1, assign what your scissors are going to be used for and do not change it. Do not let anybody use your fabric scissors for cutting their nails, cutting wallpaper, digging out the lawn, or whatever it is that they think they're going to use your scissors for. That's a big no-no, okay? Don't let anybody near your scissors. Big no-no. Talking about scissors, the next scissors I would recommend, these are my general everyday sewing scissors. Now again, these are fabric scissors. Nobody uses my scissors for anything. These scissors are my fabric scissors, and anybody that touches my fabric scissors for anything else, there's gonna be trouble. So I recommend that the scissors that you have, you won't let anybody else use those scissors, okay? Because the thing is, if someone uses these scissors for something that they're not supposed to use it for, then you will find if you're using your scissors for any fine fabrics such as silks or anything like that, really fine delicate fabrics, if they use these scissors for something else and then you go and use these scissors for that delicate fabric, you will ruin the fabric, okay? It will warp, it will pull threads, and it will make it ugly. So protect your scissors at all costs. Next, paper scissors. Now, my paper scissors are kind of funky. I like them funky. It makes it obvious that they are not fabric scissors. Okay, so they're different size, different color, and they're actually different weight too. So I picked these up from, I think it was it a DIY store? Some kind of homeware store anyway. So nice and light, cuts paper fantastically. I don't ever use them for fabric. Maybe I could. They'll probably ruin the fabric, so I have never tried. But those are my fabric scissors, paper scissors, sorry, which I use to cut patterns, cut paper, card, anything like that that's related to sewing. So if you like to use commercial patterns, that's the one to do it with. Next thing I've got now, I have to warn you people. I have to warn you. I'm going there. I am going there. I am going into the realms of the quick unpick. Now, me and this quick unpick, I've got to tell you people, I am not a fan of the quick unpick. This thing, for me, is like the biggest problem in the world. And the reason why is because when Jane has a quick unpick in her hand, bad things happen. Bad things happen like holes in fabric. Bad things happening like ripping bits which is not supposed to be ripped. Because I have to confess, people, in all my years of sewing, I have never gotten along with the quick unpick. Which is really strange because I have like 3 of them. And you know what? I have to confess, I keep them for show because I don't actually use them. But they're on the list because lots of people swear that they are the most amazing thing in the world. They can't live without the Quick Unpick. They don't know what their world would just be not the same if they have the if they don't have the Quick Unpick. Now, you know, they say it rocks their world. They love it. They can't do without it. And if that's you, hey, who am I to say not to use it? If it works for you, then go use it. Absolutely, absolutely. So it's on the list, the Quick Unpick. Not for me. If it's for you, great. There you go. Next is, we've got carbon paper. And we've got, oh, I've got another set of needles. Tracing wheel. Okay, now this one it's a super funky one because this one does 2 lines at the same time. So if you've got a commercial pattern, what you do is you unroll this. This comes in various colours, this carbon paper. And then you use this and you wheel your tracing paper is underneath, and then you have your fabric, and then you would have the actual commercial pattern on the top, and then you wheel around and it will trace the carbon paper to the fabric. So it's really handy. Of course, if you've got these two, then you also need one of these. Woo, woo. Okay, because then you don't put holes in your table. So put that down, put everything down, and then you wheel through. So making sure that you stay on the mat. If you don't stay on the mat, you're going to end up with 1,000,001 holes, track lines all over your table, which is not very nice, especially if you're using your dining room table. Okay, because people start asking you, what is this? Have you got woodworm or something? I don't know. Anyway, so that's the tracing mat, carbon paper, tracing wheel. There is another type of tracing wheel as well, which has got sharper points. So this one is quite good if you're doing a certain type of fabric. And the other one, the sharper one, is pretty good if you want a more defined line as well. So for different type of fabric. So there you go. Next is, you're wondering, what the heck is this? Well, this is what I use as weights. So there you go, which are like really big washers. Yeah, pretty big. So you can get them really inexpensively on certain sites, discounted sites. I think I bought something like 20 for, I don't know, less than £10 or something. So they're really handy. You can space them out, no problem, nice and weighty. But if you don't want to go to the trouble of buying something like this, you can actually just go to any park or any beach and pick up some stones and just give them a good wash, whatever weight you prefer, and use those. Free, cheap, no problem. So I have those as well, but the ones I've got are pretty big, so I thought I'd show you these. These are much easier to handle. So the next thing, of course, is, if you're going to do any sewing, is a sewing machine. Now, this is my old faithful sewing machine. I've had this one for about 12, 15 years. Now this one, I've been told, is like the Rolls Royce of domestic sewing machines. Now Bernina's been going for absolutely ages. At the time, when I bought this, I thought, you know what, this is just so expensive. and I don't even know why I'm buying this. And the man I thought was trying to con me when he said, oh, it'll keep its value and all the rest of it. I thought, yeah, right. But you know what? He was right. Apparently, this has kept its value. So what it cost me 15 years ago, it's still worth the same amount of money, which is not what I can say for my car, because my car has depreciated, but my sewing machine hasn't. Maybe I should drive my sewing machine. I don't know. So there you go. It's quite basic. It does a few stitches, a few decorative stitches. There's many more out there on the market that do far more stitches. It does a buttonhole stitch, it does zigzag. For me, as a tailor and someone who does a lot of costume period stuff, this is a good all-rounder. Now, there's loads of other ones out there. There's the Toyota, there's Pfaff, there's all sorts, Husqvarna's, there's Singers, there's Brothers, and they're all fantastic. It really depends on what you want to do. Okay, for me, I like this good all-rounder. It's never let me down, nice and sturdy. It's quite heavy, but I can still carry it around and do different things, and it serves me well. So, you know, you can pick up your machine from anywhere. As long as it serves you well, it's in your budget, you can pick it up from any discount place. No problem at all. Have a look around, look in your charity shops, all sorts of places, second-hand places. The point is that you get a machine, it works well for you, it does what it needs for you. Don't worry so much about what the make is, especially if you're starting out. You know, the important thing is to get something that you can work with, and then as you go along, then if you want to upgrade to something else, then you can do that. So there you go. So I'll just put this away. Oh, that's quite heavy. So that leaves me to the last few things that I want to mention, which is the lamp that I'm using. It's always good to have a nice source of light. This one is really good because it's a daylight saving light. So you can see it's all touch sensitive, and it moves around, and it's really great. When I used to work in central London, I used to have it on my desk, and I was the envy of the department. So there you go. So lamp is really great. Make sure you've got something nice and bright. Okay. And then the last two things I want to mention is just do that. Last thing I want to mention is the table I'm using. It's a nice, sturdy, secure table. I bought this one in IKEA, the home of all sorts of storage stuff, storage solutions. It's a fantastic place, nice and cheap, inexpensive. Sometimes you can buy a custom-made one or have it done for you, and it's fantastic. But if you're starting out, you don't want to spend too much money, you're not sure if you're going to, you know, go along and have this as a main part of your life, your sewing and stuff like that, then start nice, cheap, cheerful. This one cost me, I think it was less than £50. So this is about 1.5 meters by about 3/4 meter, which for me, I'd like it to be twice as big, but it really depends on what space you're working with. Now, if you've got a small space, you can't have too big a table. If you've got a huge space and you live in a mansion, then by all means have a huge table, acres and acres of table, and it would be fantastic. You could put all your projects on there. But if you don't have that mansion, you've got a tiny space, if you've got a kitchen table or anything like that, then you've got to work accordingly. So fair enough. Last but not least, I'm going to mention the chair that I'm working from, that I'm sitting on, I should say, which is pretty much an ordinary office chair, which is pretty good. And of course the cushion, so that supports my lumbar, my back and everything, so don't need that at the moment. So there you go. So yeah, nice and comfy. You can change the seat, the back, so it goes up and down. It's all very comfortable, moves around. If you have it on wheels, it's even better. But if you're working from home and you've just got a kitchen chair or you've got a stool and it works for you, then that's fine. It's absolutely fine. As long as you've got somewhere to park yourself at the table to do your little bit, then that's fantastic. So that's me done. All finished with the basic sewing kit. Next week, I will be talking about a tailoring sewing kit, which has a lot more stuff in it. There's a lot more bits and pieces, a little bit more in depth. So don't forget to stay tuned so you can have a look at that, listen to what's going on, see what bits would be relevant for you. If you want to do tailoring, take it further and do that tailoring. What bits is pretty essential for you to have in order for you to get those results, those fantastic results, to make those garments absolutely pop, be amazing. Then that's the tools that you will need. So stay tuned. Don't forget, subscribe, tune in, share, tell everybody about AOJ, and next week we will have another adventure of Jay right here. I'll catch you next week. See you later. Bye.